Balloon with exhalation coming up, followed by a tall jet black dorsal fin. Oh, there's a harbor porpoise! That was not our orca whales. Notice how small they are, and remember, harbor porpoise are on the mainland.
In fact, they're right here. I was like pointing. They're right there.
I love seeing those animals. They're so small. Orca whales are going to have deeper downtimes, and then they're going to come back up to the surface and reoxygenate. That's usually how their travel patterns follow. So when they reoxygenate, they're going to be having a couple breaths. So when we start to see some surface activity, keep watching. Chances are it'll happen multiple times before deep dive. Look at that tall dorsal fin. So that is one of our mature males. Absolutely gorgeous. He's actually really short. So I believe this individual is actually on his own right now. The rest of his family is a little bit ahead. So it's a little bit harder to tell which ecottype this is. So I'll just let you know, this is going to be a big killer whale. Again, from top 8 marine mammals, primarily our herbivores, but sometimes sea lions and our harbor porpoise.
It's weird.
we did see that harbor porpoise that was swimming by, and harbor porpoise are on the menu for biggest killer whales, but we noticed throughout the years of documenting these experiences, which it's not been that long since we started to watch them every single day. I'll get into why that is in a little bit. But ever since we started documenting them, we've noticed they don't just eat everything that they can find. If they are full, or if they've just eaten, a lot of times they'll hold off. So they'll only eat when they need to, which was lucky for this harbor seal. I mean, harbor porpoise. Now this works out really well for them because they are constantly completing random circuits through the west coast, traveling wherever the wind takes them, pretty much only determined by where their food is. They're constantly changing up their hunting grounds and their territories. So as they pick off prey, they will keep on moving. They'll pick off some prey and they will keep on moving. This way their prey populations are not depleted. If I were an orca and I didn't know any better, I would just sit myself down in a nice little bay with lots of harbor seals and eat all of them, not have to move, not have to work very hard. But a few years in, I would be facing some pretty serious consequences. I would have eaten every single harbor seal available, all the males, all the females, the reproductive females, and all of the harbor seal pups. There would be no more harbor seals left. And then, that would cause me a lot of trouble. I would have to go out of my way and search for uncharted areas and for harbor seals that I otherwise wouldn't have had to. So by keeping their movement constant, killer whales will not deplete their prey populations, which is really good. That means that they know where prey will be and have a pretty good chart of where they should go to find their food, a mental chart. And they know that that prey is not going to be leaving or depleting itself anytime soon because they're only picking a couple and moving on. Okay. Maybe about 2 o'clock. There should be another reoxygenation period, so keep your eyes out around 2 o'clock. She'll be coming up again a few more times. Right before that, darker line of a lot of that curve. So if it popped up.
No, behind that. I think it's just like floating back to seaweed or something. Yep.
So seeing individual whales, killer whales or orcas, split apart from the rest of their family unit is not super unusual because they can communicate via long-range vocals which can travel under the water for miles around. So just because we can't see the rest of this male's family doesn't mean he can't hear them and talk to them himself. Kind of like how we use cell phones, they'll use long-range vocals. Now I'm talking a lot about their language systems as if they are equivalent to the language systems that we use as people. There's some discourse as to whether orca languages are as evolved and abstract as ours are. Some people say yes, some people say no. It's hard to tell, but we do know that orcas have different vocals that mean different things. They use different vocals while hunting, while socializing, while moms are ordering their kiddos around. They have different vocals for newborn babies, as I was saying a little bit earlier. And there's a few studies that show that orca whales will have individual calls for individual whales and their family, just like we have names for individual people in our families and friends and everyone that we know. So, moral of the story, they have a very elaborate communication system back up at the surface. What about 2 o'clock? They have very elaborate communication systems, which is good because they need to be capable of backup. They need to be capable of they need to communicate their thoughts, their feelings, their plans for a hunt to the rest of their family. So their vocalizations, their squeaks, their whistles, their clicks allows them to do that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see it quite that far.
Every time so far. I think I'm, I don't know.